All that's left behind of this charter bus is really just a shell of itself. Through these busted windows, you can see the items left behind by passengers, a jacket, a charger hanging out of the window, blankets. Now these families are looking to get back home. As you can see, they've claimed their luggages. The bottom of this bus that once carried lots of suitcases, now empty. People's livelihoods are going to be at the top of their minds this morning as people ready for Francine. Now, we just want to take you on what you want to do when you get here. First of all, you'll definitely want to bring a vehicle that you're comfortable with getting sand in. So when you get here to the site on Michael Avalon Boulevard, you'll want to come over to a pile like this one. You'll want to help yourself to a shovel, which there are plenty stuck in the sand, and you'll want to start filling up those sandbags. We don't really have bags to show you this morning, but this is really what you can expect today as the city of Jackson has declared a state of emergency Tuesday. Firefighters are still battling this massive blaze. It has been going on for over 20 hours inside of this yard that housed thousands of tires. The smoke is thick. It's billowing over the Jackson area, and it may be a while before they get this out. It's a complete ghost town in Madison for good reason. Take a look at these roads. As you can see, there's a layer of ice here on the roads. As you can see, I'm literally slipping back and forth, which doesn't really make good conditions for driving. Aaron and C, so we can tell you that suspect MHP was searching for is still at large this morning. Take a look at the search Wednesday morning and into the afternoon.
PT begins with breaking news.
And we are following breaking news out of North Jackson this morning. Firefighters are still on the scene of a duplex fire. We've been waiting for the sun to come up to get a better look on if in fact that massive fire is still burning, and it is. Take a look. This is from our NDOT traffic cam. I-55 south of I-20. This fire has been going on for over 12 hours, smoking exactly the way you see it on camera. Aaron, what a mind-blowing debate. It's all we're going to be seeing on social media the moment you wake up and open that phone. And party leaders here in Mississippi on both sides wasted no time giving their opinion on President Biden's and former President Trump's performance last night. And I'm Michaila Franklin. It is August 21st. Can you believe it?
I know, it's hard to believe.
I mean,
the year's flying by.
It really is. All right, I've got a confession.
What is it?
I bought my first fall candle.
You know what?
Too early? All right, we've got a little bit of everything, and it's going to be our first weekend in June. We've got rain, heat. I mean, what is the what to wear looking like? Are we doing shorts and a rain jacket?
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Can we do that?
Absolutely. I mean, why not?
Yay, a little bit of a positive there.
Ay, qué caliente.
That's all I have to say. Spicy, like the forecast.
It was shock. It was hurt.
A moment of silence and grief gripping the room.
I just need a moment.
Please take as much time as you need.
As Joshua and his mother, Shirley Brown, sit side by side in their attorney's office, recounting the betrayal they felt since the 19-year-old was arrested for a murder he didn't commit.
It was shock. It was shock because I know where he was, and I know that it was impossible for him to have even been in Jackson.
The family says they decided to do an exclusive sit-down interview with 16 WAPT News to set the record straight.
And that's the reason I wanted to come out now, to state the true facts, to state the truth about my son, because it's just unfortunate of how the story was just spread it from state to state and every outlet. Now it's time for them to know the truth.
In October last year, Brown and Jamison Kelly were arrested and charged for the murder of JSU student Jalen Burns. Burns was shot and killed during the university's 2023 homecoming weekend. It happened at the University Point Apartments while trying to break up a fight. Days later, Brown, a Jones College football player, would be arrested at his own school.
If the right questions would have been asked, he'd have never been arrested.
The family says those questions were the obvious. Where was Joshua Brown at the time of the murder? His mom has that timeline, which started at breakfast with his father and his girlfriend.
Then he went to church, our church. When they left church, they went to Walmart.
And then his mom says they left Columbia, Mississippi to head to school and to drop his girlfriend off in Hattiesburg.
Before leaving Columbia, thank goodness he stopped at Texaco to get gas. And so that's where the videos, pick up at.
Weeks after the arrest, a family friend and a spokesperson, Stan Buckley, made it his mission to get the charges dropped. Buckley visited TV stations claiming Brown's innocence.
He could shoot a guy in Jackson, drive 90 miles to Hattiesburg, change trucks, go pick up a friend, leave there and go to Krispy Kreme in 13 minutes. Well, guess what? You can't do that. It's literally physically impossible. Because as far as I know, still no one can be in two places at once.
After the images were given to JSU police, the university released a statement saying, "We appreciate the members of the public who have shared information pertinent to this investigation. All information in our evidence is being examined." But still, it took nearly a month for Brown to be released.
We're disappointed. And we feel that someone needs to be, as a whole, held accountable.
They didn't want the truth to come out, that they got it wrong, and that's why it happened that way.
Joshua didn't have many words for us.
Is there anything that you want people to know?
He's paid a hefty price for a crime he says he didn't commit, from losing scholarships to play Division I football and appealing to his school's conference for a year of eligibility at Jones College. His attorney, Ephraim Sellers, says the teenager is still processing his time in jail. Sellers argues not just any jail, but one of the worst in the country, the Raymond Detention Center.
While he was down there, he saw things that are life-altering. There was an inmate that I believe hung himself while he was in custody. Josh's cell was right next to that inmate's cell.
If not Kelly or Brown, who's responsible for the JSU murder that happened nearly 4 months ago?
And has anyone been brought forth before the DA's office to prosecute a killer or murderer?
I think the investigation is ongoing. A case has not been presented to the grand jury at this time, but we do know that the investigation is ongoing and active.
While District Attorney Jody Owens couldn't say much, in a statement, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation says they've identified individuals of interest and agents are diligently pursuing leads and gathering evidence.
Did the justice system fail, Mr. Brown?
I think the justice system certainly has concerns when the wrong person is identified. Mr. Brown, unfortunately, in this instance, did not benefit from a false identification. The truth is, it happens.
The family is filing a civil lawsuit against Jackson State.
Jalen Burns is a good kid. But you don't ruin the life of another good kid to try to seek justice for one good kid. You get it right.
And as for Joshua Brown, his football career may have come to a screeching halt, but it certainly isn't over.
Oh yeah, that's my goal, and it's always been my dream to play D1 football and go as far as I can, because a lot of people have supported me throughout my whole football career, and I just want to make all my people proud of me.
In Jackson, Michaila Franklin, 16, WAPT News.
It's different when it's a mass casualty like that, when there are so many people.
Vicksburg first responders like Jessica Cade are still recovering from the emotional night they experienced when this charter bus overturned and claimed the lives of 7 people and left dozens of others injured.
I responded to Rolling Fork after the tornadoes, and that's the only thing that would compare to this in my experience.
First responders describe it as a scene unlike anything they've worked.
That was one of the worst incident that I've ever experienced.
And this is a firefighter with over 30 years of experience. Saturday, just after midnight, first responders were tasked with a severe rescue operation, all while navigating a language barrier with Spanish-speaking passengers traveling to Mexico.
We had to cut out the windshield, go in, multiple different patients laying around, injuries, blood everywhere.
They were pinned with some of their extremities underneath the seat and the bus too, so they were having to figure out how to get them out without further injuring them.
Jeremy Cooper says they instantly knew not everyone survived.
We went to them, checked them, trying to make sure if they were still alive or anything that we could do for them to possibly get them to safety. Yeah, but at that point in time, they had already passed before we even got there on scene.
I think we saved everyone that could be saved, and the system worked the way it was supposed to work.
16 WAPT News got an up-close look of the damage. All that's left behind of this charter bus is really just a shell of itself. Through these busted windows, you can see the items left behind by passengers: a jacket, a charger hanging out of the window, blankets. Now these families are looking to get back home. As you can see, they've claimed their luggages. The bottom of this bus that once carried lots of suitcases, now empty.
I've been told that there was a mother that lost a 16-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. And as a mother, I can't help but just feel for her.
I send those families my condolences, you know, the parents, grandparents, whoever it was at the time.
In Vicksburg, Michaila Franklin, 16, WAPT News. Slicing and dicing. These pine trees have to come down.
I don't think we've experienced anything like this in 40 years.
You see these holes?
You see the pencil-sized holes, that's an indication right there.
The suspect in question that attacked this big old tree is a lot smaller than you think. Tell us about the pine beetle pandemic.
Yeah, the pine beetle pandemic. They're destroying pine trees left and right here in central Mississippi.
Silas Richmond owns a local tree cutting service. He and his crew are getting an influx of calls to cut down dead pine trees that have been taken over by hungry little beetles that leave nothing behind but a carcass.
The pine trees send a signal out to the pine beetles that, hey, we're starving, come eat us.
He says the extreme drought is to blame, and the demand for tree cutters is exploding.
The last month, I've probably cut 300 pine trees. That's more than what we cut all of last year together.
The beetles making the tree their home is a homeowner's nightmare.
It's a liability issue because in the state of Mississippi, if you have a dead tree, you're responsible for it.
Susan Lieber is responsible for an entire yard of them. While she loves the look, these critters aren't the ones fronting the bill for what could become a dangerous situation.
You can have a healthy tree one day, and if you've got a pine beetle population, in 2 weeks you can have a milk chocolate covered tree.
It may be an appetizing sign for a pine beetle, but a signal for homeowners like the Liebers that it's time for a big chop.
It happens very quickly. They're aggressive, and we had no choice but to get control of them.
Lieber and Richmond both stress for homeowners to treat or chop. You can always make room for new growth.
We're also going to plant some new trees. The sustainability of the earth depends on that, and so we're committed to that, and we're actually going to do that.
In Madison, Michaila Franklin, 16 WAPT News. A lot can happen in 7 hours, more than this Vicksburg couple would have liked.
Made a great exit out of the parking lot, but we had a great entrance of a baby boy.
Monday night, Blake and Alexis Liggett were inside of the Vicksburg River Region Merit Health waiting to have their baby boy when the two got an alarming call.
Mother-in-law calls us and sees my truck going out the hospital, says
She thought he was leaving.
She thought I was leaving her in the middle of labor. I was like, I'm not going anywhere.
Blake ran downstairs and his truck was gone. That's where we pick up, here in South Jackson. Ended in a crash and a big... Where we brought you the report of a Warren County police chase that ended with Blake's truck smashed into the Wendy's sign on Highway 18. After this truck crashed right into it, as you can see, there's a lot of debris and a lot of damage. The Warren County sheriffs arrested and charged Orlando Seattle with auto theft and felony eluding. He was denied bond in court Wednesday. But court documents show that the 31-year-old was on probation after pleading guilty to being an accessory after the fact in a 2019 deadly shooting. He was sentenced to 15 years, but had 13 suspended. He allegedly violated probation Monday night.
You're just taking advantage of people in the hospital. It's just like a little bit crazy in general. And just so happen we're trying to bring a new life into the world. You're out here stealing stuff from people.
The truck is now totaled, and the brand new baby car seat that a family member bought off of the couple's registry is also gone.
It was in the truck. It got voided before the baby was even born because it was in a wreck. Hadn't even had birth yet, and the car seat was voided.
But the couple remains in good spirits. Hours after the incident, Alexis unexpectedly gave birth to their baby boy at 5 a.m.
This is
Mason James Liggett, born at 5:14 on the 16th, and he weighed 6 pounds 15 ounces.
Alexis, Blake, and Mason all have quite the birth story to tell.
Like all day we've been getting phone calls. Congratulations on the baby. Sorry about your truck.
Congratulations on the baby. Sorry about your truck.
In Jackson, Michaila Franklin, 16 WAPT News.